giveaways and prizes we have for our audience, so it's time to talk about these two teams.
Yes, story time.
Story time indeed. Well, hashtag Are You in Fun Gaming, they battled for the Eastern Bloc representation in Week 1. They had a draw on Cliff, and then Ensk caused many of the American fans to dismiss the campy efforts of Fun Gaming. And we saw a little bit of talk coming from Refuse to Die in that effort, saying that they will dig them out, and so did Victoria's Secret with their campy gear in the rear. And they did so, which was quite impressive. Fun Gaming has evolved since the first time we saw their efforts and tactics used that were very successful in Russia for LAN tournaments. But now they're facing hashtag RU, who is a veteran team, lost to them in the first battle, in the first matchup for the season. But hopefully they have grown as well they have. But have they grown enough to counter Fun Gaming to be able to be in a higher seed? They will play again tonight, both teams, in the wild card. And that's going to be their final placement.
Yeah, that is the real big question. Hashtag RU just fumbled so much trying to break the defensive positions of Fun Gaming at the beginning of the season. It was confusing even to watch them just hesitate. And then Fun Gaming would just respond expertly, by the way, showing that they were a very talented team, even though they stuck to a single style of play. They have evolved, though. They've changed. They've gotten a little bit more aggressive.
Who hasn't? Who hasn't this entire season, these 7 weeks? But now we find out who is the better team between the two. The countdown has begun. The battle will take place on Ruenberg. That will be the first map. In all the matches today, it's continually the map of the week. Rukill, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, we have 2 AMX 5100s and IS-3, 2 1390s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams for hashtag RU, the red team spawning in the south. The blue team in the north, Fun Gaming, will have 2 AMX 5100s, 2 IS-3s, a 1390, and 2 T1 Cunninghams.
And here we go, taking a look at the first runs. On the screen, you'll see the red team, hashtag RU. Take a look at where the T1s go. Facepalm firing towards the buildings for fun, I'm guessing, as Miss Rocky, Go PvP, Snowfell, and Predator head towards the west. And the northern side, not going for the Delta Village.
Yeah, very interesting opening move. There's going to be 2 simultaneous scout runs from hashtag RU. Godzilla mode taking the F crossroads, and that is a nice position I haven't seen in a long time. Cubbyhole, so we can watch east and west. At the same time, we've got Master Poot making that traditional mid-scout run and allowing for hashtag RU to actually take Delta Village control. They're going to take the shortest route, at least Games Rigged is. The Lair Desolator taking the wider route to cover. Young Money Cash Money jumping to the low ground. An interesting split from hashtag RU that I'm not sure would have worked out had Fun Gaming just made an east side push. What is Fun Gaming doing right now?
Well, I was watching Dulo's scouting movement at first. He's leaving where he was close to the flag cap. The heavies are staying in Bravo 1, all together huddled.
That is an incredibly tight cluster. They're all looking to the south towards the 1 line, I guess expecting some kind of a fast cap.
Not going to be the case. This is a turnaround from what we see regularly from the spawning position behavior of the teams in the first 2 to 5 minutes of the battle. Now the Fun Gaming heavy tanks are pushing further south.
Okay, now they're going to move. This is an interesting play, though. No, they're not going to try and take the southern cap, are they?
No, they're swinging towards the east in the open clearings between the city blocks. Lucky has been able to spot any potential danger coming from that southern tip. None, which allows all of Fun Gaming's heavies to move to that section. And Lucky will move from his position, but not too far. I thought he was maybe going to go active scout on the TIE Fighter, but he's going to stay in the corner as Snowfell, Predator, Miss Rocky, Go PvP, still huddled together.
It's a very interesting move. It's almost as if they're planning to break a southwest camp because of the way they're moving this route. They're in such a manner that they would be avoiding any spotting if there was a southwest camp. However, I do see that T1 moving all the way to the south now.
Yeah, that's Facepalm. He's inching closer and closer.
He's going to actually be able to verify the safety of this position. And if there is a fast cap from Fun Gaming, a southern fast cap, by the way, something that's almost unheard of, simply because of...
That'd be unheard of from Fun Gaming in general.
Oh, certainly, yes. But generally, I'd say because of the open nature of the cap. And if they did go for a fast cap, that would be a good way to throw off your opponent in the first battle. It certainly works out pretty well that way.
And potential leapfrog happening for Predator and Snowfell as Go PvP covers their push further south towards the fountain. The initial guesses coming out of Fun Gaming would be, well, if they were playing the standard, they'd hug that side, but Kazzo's the first to fall.
Goes down. Dulo being able to spot him, and I guess that must have been Miss Rocky making that connection. And now we've got the aggression out of Fun Gaming. Not much of a defense. We've only got Topolim, and it looks like one of the 1390s is on the way back. Master Putin should be in range to, at very least, help Topolim. Everything else from Fun Gaming, sorry, from #RU, is a little bit out of range. Game is Rigged is in a reasonable location. He can still return to base, but Valera Desolator and Young Money, Young Money is returning a little bit. Valera Desolator, though, is very far out on the flank, and it'll be a good 30, 40 seconds at least to get back to cap.
Predator and Snowfell lined up towards Master Putin from really long range. That far, pretty sure he won't be able to scout him.
No. Master Putin's actually done something rather clever, and he's knocked over a tree to create cover where there was not, allowing him to spot down that road reasonably well. Now, he is going to be able to inch up towards another bush, and I guess he might kind of go from one to the other until he sees something or until he decides, guess what, there's nothing here. Might as well put my time in elsewhere. Little does he know, there are two 5100s looking straight at him.
For whom the bell tolls, as the church rings the clock to indicate about 5 minutes left.
And with that, we might see a reset from #RU. Maybe some different moves from Fun Gaming. They are moving facepalm up, and he has now taken Kilo 2.
Shot fire from Game is Rigged. No dice. No hit indication happening on the side of Fun Gaming. Kazzo's still the only tank that has fallen for #RU. And blind fire from Predator towards Godzilla mode. Nothing lands. Game is Rigged. Still reloading.
Game is Rigged was firing off towards the F crossroads. And as we can see, he hasn't connected with anything, but it was worth a shot. Most of these players are doing a pretty decent job at hiding from any blind fire. However, Predator could very soon make a connection on Godzilla mode if Godzilla stays in the area. And assuming Predator chooses the right bushes. He is moving his gun up. He's checked the southern position to Godzilla mode. Now if he moves, takes a more northern angle, no, he's going to turn around.
Yep, turn the other section. 4 minutes left. This could be a repeat of the first time these two teams fought. A draw in the first battle.
No surprise there. Fun Gaming has taken a nice position, very defensive.
And as we check in with the different positioning of Fun Gaming, Miss Rocky's going to be covering this corner next to the flag cap. No aggression happening from #RU, even though a number of the heavy tanks are close on the TIE Fighter. Dulo could scout any type of those movements, but none yet. As we look towards Snowfell, as he hangs in his heavy tank, nothing is spotted still in his position as Predator is able to cover him just in case. But Predator will now leave that position and head further north. At least angle his tank further north with that turret. Shot fire from Go PvP. Return fire coming towards them. Does not land.
All right. And there is a slight development now. #RU looks like they're going to maybe go towards the northern cap.
No.
They could. They could do it. They've got 2 minutes and about 30 seconds once they get it set up. Young Money, Cash Money is approaching the northern cap. He could find Dulo. And when they do that, if Fun Gaming does not react fast enough, and it actually does look like they are already reacting, good call by Fun Gaming. Heads up play, good spotting. I think Dulo has spotted Young Money. I'm hearing some pinging here and there, and that should be able to bait Fun Gaming back into the north. You can see their tanks all making this big northern motion. The T1 staying behind. Wait, 1390s moving up to the F crossroads.
This is only a bait happening for Young Money, Cash Money. The two heavy tanks from #RU are not going to push towards that flag cap. It's only to draw out Fun Gaming. Fun Gaming's not going to take the bait. If they do, they would take way too much damage from the rear, but they're so spread out that #RU would not be able to chase down the rest of the tanks. It's going to end in a draw.
I would expect as much as well. You're very right. There's a great chance of a draw.
I would, if they were completely going for the flag cap, those 2 heavy tanks on the 0 line would be going towards the flag cap a minute and a half ago.
Yes.
They would be going towards, the northern village at Alpha 7.
But look at this. Young Money Cash Money has hidden himself on the cap. And now we've got Godzilla mode moving to cover Cash Money's northern approach. That is the only angle at which I expect Young Money to take any real damage. Dulo could actually pen Young Money's side. It is possible. The only area I know of that you can pen an IS-3 is on the side, right down there. Actually, I'll have to get lower in order to properly give you that kind of thing. Right down here, right between the tracks.
Godzilla mode. A volley of 1,000, 1,100, and he falls. Toplum takes down Facepalm to the south.
That changes everything.
2 of the Fun Gaming tanks will be on the flag cap.
Snowfail. If Snowfail can get it, then it's done. It's over.
There's one.
We can't have a victory right now. Neither team can really do it. Putin's going back to the south. You've got the north.
Snowfail falls back a bit. Go PvP takes a shot for 364. Miss Rocky's going to cover him on the corner. And even though there's 16 seconds left for the flag cap to the south, Fun Gaming could actually reverse this.
Very well could. They have the southern cap with 10 seconds left. They're making the fight in the north, and Putin is waiting until the last possible moment in order to reset. But he cannot afford to miss. And he peeks out, zeros, and he connects.
Gets a reset. That's what he needed.
And now with Predator, he's reset it all the way, but he will go down.
There's 2 heavy tanks still alive for #RU. They're all the way on the 0 line. They will not be caught. Predator still has 6 shots in his tank.
Good call. That was a great call by #RU. Good timing to stop the cap, and actually amazing shots to hit Lucky in the 1390.
Yeah, that was very sacrificial, very important to make that happen. He did so. And you have to play that sacrifice, because if you don't, you lose automatically. And what's more important, your team maintains the draw or your team loses. If you have to pay a little bit of creds to repair your tank, it's all worth it. Well, first draw happening, but a lot more action compared to the first time we saw these 2 teams go head-to-head.
It was very tense, I think. They're more willing to create an engagement because they realize that going for these draws is only going to hurt them potentially in the long run. They don't want to risk that situation where their opponent is able to get the win and then sit on it, especially when you're pressured harder to push. When there's no huge pressure to push, I feel like you can make a more comfortable move. There's no huge risk with a higher potential of a loss there. Instead, they can take some risks, see what happens. If it doesn't work, sure, you get the draw. But if it does work, good for you.
And this will be the second battle that's chosen between these 2 teams. You look at the possibility of draw scenarios. It can happen on any map. Mines is the map that we least see it, and Cliff, probably the map that we've saw the most played in one of the seasons, but the least amount of potential draws. The reasoning being because of approaches, how smaller the map is compared to a map like Ruenberg or Steps. They're very large maps. Ensk is that in between because of the nature of how much cover there is on this map and teams unwilling to really push into an area that's completely guarded and so well guarded by an enemy team that they don't want to go into a guaranteed loss, which is the reasoning that Simp brought out in Season 3. Why would we push against a heavily fortified area?
Yeah, it's just one of the many things about tanks. When you have these 7 players, 5 of them being tier 8s, you'll only have 5 yourselves. The T1s play an important role in trying to break those, but you can't afford to lose too many hit points on your own T8s. Once that happens, the possibility of an attack is, just about squashed.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Eastern play with the 2 heavy tanks that Simp brought was quite awesome to see because they were waiting for their opponents to commit to the railroad tracks. And once they did that, then they could create that surrounding pincer attack in a straight line of volley shots.
That's the drawback of that whole position.
Yep.
You're putting yourself in a very flexible position north to south. However, you're opening yourself up to a flank if you don't provide proper coverage.
Battle number 2 between the 2 teams, #RU and Fun Gaming, will begin in 17 seconds. Rukill, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, we've got 3 AMX 5100s, 2 IS-3s, 2 T1 Cunninghams for #RU. They will be the red team spawning in the north. Fun Gaming, the blue team in the south, will have 2 5100s, 3 IS-3s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams.
And you'll see the red team in the north watch for their initial split, or will they huddle together and also look for the patterns the T1s will take to scout? In the south, Fun Gaming in the blue, Face Palm heading towards the city block, the Golf Hotel line. He'll continue to creep more north.
And it looks like the opening move from #RU will be the traditional northwest defense. Young Money, Cash Money, and Godzilla mode hitting up the keyholes and beginning to watch to the southeast. Not going to see anything yet unless the T1 decides to make a late run. Blind fire going out, seeing if anybody's going to cross and paying attention to the timing of a tank that could have spawned in the west moving to the east. Fires again.
The holdback spread from Fun Gaming almost mirrors what's happening with #RU, but notice the 2 heavy tanks still way far away from #RU and Alpha 4.
Indeed.
They have one of the T1s spread towards the east to scout.
Yeah, that's Kazo. He's going to be out there. He could actually come into play and be utilized very nicely on some simultaneous cap and brawl pressure. But we have an interesting position where IS-3s are attempting to create some early damage, much like in Himmelsdorf, when you see that squaring off of IS-3s across the middle. We have right now with Go PvP and Godzilla mode, who are squaring off, trying to snipe each other out with clever positioning. Godzilla mode looks to be about invincible, and he's blind firing down the way. I think what happened is he did not spot Go PvP. Go PvP spotted him, and you had that one-way situation. It is odd, though, because Godzilla mode has binoculars on his IS-3.
Go PvP does not. He's got vents, vertical stabilizer, and tank gun rammer, which is the same lineup of equipment I would use.
I would put a wet ammo rack on that. I would
No
opt for
wet
that.
ammo racks at all for Fun Gaming
Interesting.
for their IS-3s.
That will actually mean that they're very susceptible to an ammo rack, and we've seen that in the past. We've seen their IS-3s go up in ammo racks a few times here and there.
Happened to Zach Koom on Simple Tankers.
Yeah. Very unfortunate when that happens.
Thursday it was. Quite the explosion.
Note that Young Money, Cash Money, and Godzilla mode both run binoculars on their IS-3s.
A little bit of movement coming from Fun Gaming. Still, no one has passed the golf line. Facepalm could do it first, though. He will. In the T1, he's going to scout ahead. No tank spotted. He's going to slam right into the building. Hopefully the 50 meters will be able to spot any heavy tanks in the Echo block. None yet.
You won't find anything for a little while. I think we've got Topolin in a similar location, getting very close to that Echo block, and he's just trying to proxy spot. Notice how the T1s just run into the building. They want to get as close as they can, see if they can get that 50 meters. It's just about 50 meters from one side of the house to the other. And then if there's anyone on the other side, sure, you spot them. You're likely trapped if you're Topolin, but support could move in from #RU very quickly. Oh, there's the move. Facepalm. He may spot Godzilla mode. And he will. There's a proxy. Very nice proxy. And Facepalm will put himself in the little cubbyhole. Safe and sound. Little team.
Whoa!
Whoa, that was HE.
And that did a lot of damage to Facepalm through the wall.
It's good shot. I want to see him try that one more time.
Godzilla mode's lining up another hit.
Yeah, he is. Oh,
Can't get it. Facepalm backed out.
there must
Too
be
far
something.
away.
The last shell hit right there. Amazing. There must be something with that wall where the HE is able to do it.
Perhaps if he shot through the keyhole and bounced right next to Facepalm, or hit the ground right next to Facepalm.
I would back up and actually shoot above the wall. And I think that's what he's going to go for.
Young Money, Cash Money fires. Doesn't quite get it. I'm sure Facepalm's quite surprised from what happened.
Yes, indeed.
He also has a telephone pole stacked on top of his tank. Well, he's still going to camp in that area to scout for his team. Dulo hanging back next to the flag cap, still in defensive position. This #RU has not pressed anywhere with their tier 8s from the western side towards the east. Snowfail will hold, looking down the one line. And the rest of Fun Gaming is holding tight in the Echo Village. One. Tier 8 still further back. Let's go PvP. Oh no, it's not go PvP. That's Miss Rocky. Looking towards the train tracks at the entrance towards their own flag cap. Defense for the IS-3.
Gotta have it covered. And she's in a good position to still flex to the north. I mean, she's not but 200 meters away from Godzilla mode and Young Money Cash Money. In the event of a fight, leave that position and just move north. Very good positioning. Now, she can be caught out and overmatched, maybe by #RU if they got, you know, a little saucy with the play. But I doubt that'll happen. That's far too risky.
Lucky fired a shot, fires another one. No connections.
Now we do have a little bit of a shift. Looks like Putin, game is rigged, are shifted so they're more of a southern oriented position, ready to peek out and stop any kind of aggression. It is odd. Fun Gaming, do they appear to be just looking for some kind of...
Yeah, they're looking for any type of opening against #RU to do the initial damage and then perhaps punish that. But #RU is not going to give them that window. Not going to give them that opening.
No.
And here we have, even though the last fight had a bit of action, not so much so far on Ensk. And because of this, could see the same pattern, the same thing happening the first time these two teams went head-to-head. Draw. Lucky's still going to maintain his position in this keyhole, as well as go PvP. Now, right behind them are the two tanks that could push up once damage has been taken. That's Predator in the 5100, and joining him, still holding on the one line, is Snowfail.
All right, let's take a look at the positions currently held and the tactical options for either of these teams. We have control of that Echo 2 grid square going to Fun Gaming. Now, their options, of course, push straight up. They have control of one lane. They can push into there. However, they will see a response from their opponent from two sides. One from the north, and you'll have the IS-3s from the southeast. What can happen is we can see another push come on up, move around, and we could see targeting from Fun Gaming onto Delta 4. That being a key location right now to take control of. And that's what I'm going to expect to see if a real fight breaks out. However, they do need to try and block off some of those 5100s. Maybe send one tank around the one line to create a distraction, or a contra flank to the position in the north held by #RU.
Godzilla mode fires down the line towards Dulo or Miss Rocky. No dice. Facepalm is still able to scout that one corner. And that is still the tip of the spear for Fun Gaming. Now Fun Gaming is going to pull all their tanks back, and they're expecting a draw to happen as #RU will fill that void into the Echo Square.
Yep, it's a very interesting decision. I don't understand why Fun Gaming would want to pull back unless they were willing to take the draw, because they've only lost hit points on Facepalm. Everyone else is at full health. Everyone else is completely loaded. There's no disadvantage held for Fun Gaming. It's just strange. It's obviously a choice to say, hey, our opponent may be reading our position. Let's back off. Maybe they'll come at us. And it looks like #RU is saying exactly that. Let's just go at them, guys. There's a minute and 18 seconds left. Make a fight. Maybe we'll win. We'll get some MRX. I don't know.
We'll have one of the T1s up in Alpha 9 to stay alive in case the firefight does not go in their favor. Minute and 4 seconds. Not enough time, I feel, to get the brawl completely on either side. The amount of damage being dealt towards the spread of tanks and HP, and here's a full push from #RU.
Valera just goes straight in. He's going to get whomped on in just a moment, given the opportunity. Miss Rocky, though, is taking a lot of damage. A little crossfire onto Game is Rigged and Godzilla mode. A few bounces here and there. Miss Rocky is completely cut off in her position, and we have Valera Desolator playing coverage, screening that position. And one more hit. Miss Rocky is at 3 hit points. She goes down.
And she falls as #RU continues the drive, but 27 seconds left. As #RU still has plenty of fight in them. But 20 seconds is not long enough. Lucky falls. 11 seconds left.
Go PvP could be the next target, as there are tanks moving in. IS-3s are still alive. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And another draw between these two teams. Same thing that happened the first time they met.
Yeah.
Now, I've talked about this a couple times, but if you're going to have this type of push, an all-in, if it doesn't go in your favor, you keep one of the T1s out of it, you have to do it by 245. You have to. There's not enough time. Starting it at 110, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's just not enough time. These teams are leaving themselves to get this brawl. They'd have to get a perfect execution and a complete fumble by their opponent. You saw some mistakes by Fun Gaming. Miss Rocky was a little bit too far in the north. Everyone else not in a position to cover her. A little damage went here and there. Just not enough. That's what it was. If we had an infinite amount of time and #U had, minutes and minutes more, maybe we would have seen something else. Maybe we would have seen a #U win, but it was too late in the game. And that's where I think this is going to keep going. It's going to keep going to these draws until someone makes a mistake and we see these last-minute push-ups, these last-minute, just throwing it out there, see what happens.
The next battle is going to take place on Cliff, and because of what's happened in the past between these two teams and what just happened in the last 20 minutes, I think they're going to go out and brawl. I think they're both going to meet in the middle and just duke it out.
Intentionally?
Intentionally. I think they're both going to do it. They both feel like, hey, this will catch them by surprise. That's both going to enter the team commander's mind. He's going to make the decision, and it's going to happen at the same time.
I don't know if that's what's going to happen to Fun Gaming's commander. I think that Fun Gaming's commander will probably be a little bit more passive. As I look at it, they do have the northern position, which I do feel is more defensive. So we should see Fun Gaming being able to be more defensive. If you're right, Josh, I'd love it. It would be a great play. Unfortunately, I think it's a little predictable. At the highest level, I think it would be countered very easily. Here today against #U Fun Gaming, two teams that have kind of gone against each other before but don't have any real huge animosity, maybe. Maybe they do.
No, the animosity's not there. It's what's at stake. They want a higher seed.
Oh, of course.
Or maybe maybe one team's like, hey, we feel more comfortable playing River of Blood, so therefore we want to win and get 4th place. Compared to the other teams maybe thinking they want to rather play Bernal Empires.
Well, Josh, I think your prediction could be right. Taking a look at the tanks.
Yep, let's take a look at the tanks. Battle number 3 between these two teams, Rico.
We've got #U, the red team spawning in the south. We'll have a T69, 413 T1 Cunninghams. Fun Gaming will have a Pershing, 4 1390s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams. Now, the Pershing says defensive to me. The T69 says aggressive. #U, I expect will be aggressive. Fun Gaming, I'm guessing will take up strong positions and perhaps be a little bit more passive.
They might utilize the new road on Cliff as well, close to that 1-2 line.
#U will.
And
as they are sending all 5 tier 8s there.
Fun Gaming's going right for the center. So, as fast as the aggression could be, it could be a standoff now between the donut side of the center and the Echo. I'm going to call it the Echo Road. Or the Foxtrot Road. It cuts right in half, Echo and Foxtrot.
Huh. But there's 2 roads, Connolly. Anyway, Godzilla mode is going to do something a little weird, and he's actually just booking it north, almost fast cap style, where he's going to get all the way up to Charlie 1, maybe even Bravo and Alpha 1. And as I look, yes. And remember when we talked about this maybe a few days ago? About that east-west polarization which may begin to happen? Instead of it being north-south, Cliff will become a east-west. I think this is a situation in which that might have a little bit of proof there. Dulo may spot Godzilla mode. I think Godzilla was spotted. Backs down. Starts looking left. Recognizing the
Go PvP fires from way far away up on the hillside towards Godzilla mode. No tanks are able to hit him next to the rocks from the donut. Lucky's going to join him, but he won't have the same viewpoint due to the height of Go PvP.
Now Godzilla mode will try to keep spotting here and there. We've got a little bit of motion mid-map from #U. Looks like a little spotting. A few shots fired here and there. Mr. Rocky wastes one into the dirt. And Young Money Cash Money, I think, is going to sit out and wait with that corner advantage. He's sitting on the corner. Other guys have to pop out. Ooh, I think that was fire on Miss Rocky. 290 damage, a little bit higher than the average roll. So I think it was about an average roll and 1 tick of fire. Miss Rocky has used her automatic fire extinguisher. Young Money takes 263. A little bit of payback.
Yeah, they came from Snowfail, who's right next to Miss Rocky in a revenge shot.
Now Putin will have control of the corner. And we have, is that Valera Desolator in the high ground. Traditional position for 1390 in the west. He's wasted a few shots. and looks like he's made some hits on a go PvP. And he puts out one more, does not hit. More, and he's got one left. Nothing. Just a little blind fire. Recon by fire.
And the Pershing to take a little bit of damage, but not enough for them to feel confident to push up against them. And the standstill happens, but here's a bit of a huddle coming from Fun Gaming.
They recognize the overmatch. They know they have the 5v4. They're going to go for it. Godzilla mode is out of position. He is not in the fight. He's going to begin turning around, but it's about to begin. Fun Gaming shouldn't stop. Just keep going, and they will have it. If they wait too long, Godzilla mode's going to be able to return, or we're going to see the fast cap. Fast cap will begin. Kazo top limb, Godzilla mode going for the cap. Same time, there's going to be a fight up top.
Bounce off the front of Snowfail, but they return fire towards Master Putin and Young Money. Young Money at half health, 2 shots into the dirt. Valera takes down Facepalm, and another cleanup happening in the north as Miss Rocky takes a shot for 206. Godzilla mode takes down Dulo, both tier 1s down for Fun Gaming. Lucky, Snowfell, Predator, and Miss Rocky now pushing towards #RU's Valera Desolator fires a nice shot into Lucky twice. Game is rigged, tries to clean it up. Lucky's almost down, he falls. Snowfell, Miss Rocky trying to take down the T-69 as Valera Desolator is perched up top doing significant damage. Master Putin rolls out against Miss Rocky and she falls. Go PvP in the Pershing, focusing on the T-69 who's currently reloading. And that flag cap is 10 seconds away for #RU to put a point on the board and a lead in the series. 5 more seconds as Predator now on the reload. Can't get there in time. 1 second and flag has been captured. #RU puts a point on the board.
Nice play. Fun Gaming unable to defend their base. 1390 there to keep the T1 safe. And an actually astounding handling of a 5v4 on the side of #RU. What they did was they sat out with 2 1390s. They allowed their guns to actually settle. They did not waste any shells. They gave ground. Fun Gaming thinks they have the advantage. They push in, but wait, there are 2 tanks fully settled, great positions, able to put the shells in there. 1390s go into a lower ground, and then they settle their guns into a cool position. 1390s do not stop, and they keep going forward and forward and forward, but they keep running into more and more fire. And it was a perfect handling of the situation. They must have read the potential attack from their opponent, and they knew they needed to make this fight last longer, and they needed to deal plenty of damage even if they lost. They did both of those.
I really like how that road is turning into a trap. Refuse to Die, the trap was sprung against their opponents. Unfortunately, they started to fall apart. But this was different. There was a lower ground that was trying to pull those tanks towards them and could handle the shots as, you know, it's that overmatch type mentality of, oh, we can get this kill, let's get it. And then they try to go for it. Maybe a low roll here or there or a missed shot, but they take too much damage because of it, and then it's that return.
Exactly.
So that's that retreat trap. You know, oh, they're retreating, chase after them, and it's a more fortified position as soon as they round the corner.
It's a pretty simple tactic when you think about it, as far as just looking back in history. Give a little ground, find a better position. Your opponent's going to walk into it because they think they've won. They think they've just taken this position. They own it. Little do they know, you want them to take the position because you have an even better one.
That's right. Well, #RU is in a great position with 1 battle point, and now they can play defensive for 2 more battles if they wish to, but a win would guarantee them the series if they take the next one. Fun Gaming could tie it up, though, still anybody's game. And that would bring us to a best-of-1 scenario in battle number 5 between these 2 teams. #RU now has changed the course of history. History is not repeating itself because #RU has a point on the board. In the past, it was Fun Gaming. Battle number 4 will take place on Himmelsdorf, another city map between these 2 teams. Rukill, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, we have 3 AMX 5100s, 2 IS-3s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams for #RU. They will be the red team spawning in the south. Fun Gaming will have the northern spawn. They're the blue team with 2 AMX 5100s, 3 IS-3s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams. So a little bit of that switch up. We've got the Alpha for Fun Gaming, and we have the burst damage from #RU.
If you were #RU in this scenario, Rukill, would you pull the ultimate surprise attack and go for the win?
I always
quickly?
go for the win, Josh.
Well, before 5 minutes happens.
I always go for sitting still. It actually gets me killed a lot.
Yeah,
So it has its cons.
it's true as a scout tank.
Yeah.
Got to stay on the move.
My job back when I was playing Pro League was to do everything in the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
The second 5 minutes was everyone else's job.
Yep. Facepalm before the first minute has passed, took a lot of damage from an enemy T1.
That's a scout right there. That's what a scout does. Finds the bad men early on, gets the intel. Your team can start thinking, your commander can start planning your next move, your next course of action. And lucky, Young Money, Cash Money have traded shells. We've got a little bit of damage in favor of #RU. They've got the T1 advantage. They've got the T1's down. That's Toplin. Good job moving out and recognizing the openness of the 8 line and the likeliness that there's something on the hill. He has now taken down a T1. He has a lot of freedom to be able to move into the backfield, to be able to continue spotting. I think he's going to play it safe, though, and not get too risky. He's going to do a little spotting, reversing, moving up. But in the end, I think they're going to pull him out, and they do. If only he were paying a little more attention to where he got.
Snowfail fires.
Interesting.
Does not connect.
Look at the reloads for #Rio. They're all just now finishing. They must have been blind firing during that event to the north to verify the safety of that location and that they could push. Why not? Bomb it out before you move up.
Yep. It's enough time at least to hold back. Ooh, shot fired into the houses from behind Snowfail. It's enough time for them to play defensive in case there's a fast push coming from Fun Gaming.
There's Young Money, Cash Money throwing that shot up there. Such an insane angle. It really is to try and shoot up there. Looks like Young Money's going to go for it again. It's looking right up there. There's a slight chance that you can see a tank up there, but you're not going to get a lot of connections.
No.
It's not going to happen.
No tanks will be up there now since all of the heavies from Fun Gaming will be leaving the hill. The 250-100s will huddle together as they gain speed towards their own flag cap. #RU has moved past the golf line now into Foxtrot. And Kazo will scout hopefully 1 or 2 tanks as he pushes into dangerous territory.
He will probably go for the stairs, I think. Trying to play a safer scouting spot. Or, no, he's going to go for a more aggressive one, actually. Just trying to go and allow himself to continue forward if he spots nothing, instead of perhaps slowing his momentum. And now we're seeing both teams squaring up, getting ready for a fight. They know there's something coming. Godzilla mode, Young Money, Cash Money are getting ready. I see some reverse angling. And is that that's not right across the mid, is it, from Fun Gaming? That's going to be, okay, that was strange to watch.
No, they're in the Delta section, still huddled together. Lucky's going to pop back up. Took a hit earlier.
We've got a full retreat from #RU. They don't want to take the fight.
Nope.
They do not consider this an advantageous position. Probably because they can get flanked. You have a natural split due to the roads that connect the 1-2 line and that 3-line road. But now we've got a huge mid push.
They're going for it. They're going for it in enemy territory.
Okay.
Fun Gaming.
Is that a fast cap?
No, not yet. They're trying to cut it in half. One of the tier 8s is still staying behind. They're going to try to cut them down in a split if they can find the 5100s first. But the congregation of #RU so close to their flag cap will annihilate that. And they could set up a great flank. Oh, no. Look at this. Can Toplum scout all these tanks? If they found them in this alley, this would be hugely detrimental.
He's already seen some. He's already seen Miss Rocky at the very least. And now she takes a shell as she tries to go for the T1. 1,146 damage.
And she falls. That's big for #RU. They could clean this up, and they could get the win. More shots going into Fun Gaming. Lucky gets hit on a double shot. And it's Young Money, Cash Money, Godzilla mode push-up. Snowfail falls to Valera Desolator. Predator, less than half health, continues to fire around the corner towards #RU. And here comes the flank down the golf side. Young Money, Cash Money, and Godzilla mode kill Lucky. Now they're going to focus on Predator, but shots fired from Go PvP tries to stop Young Money as he falls back. Godzilla mode's going to continue the press, and Predator's trying to escape. And game is rigged, and he only needs one more shot to take him down.
And he misses, not able to get that last shot. IS-3s, though, should be able to clean this up. Go PvP doesn't stand a chance against 2 expert IS-3s. Go PvP needs only one more as Godzilla mode puts one into him. And a ram from Master Putin will actually get the kill in his 5100. Now, Young Money waits.
Valera Desolator is so close to getting the shot. Rams and gets it. #RU. Fun Gaming won 2-0. Now #RU has won 2-0.
But why? What changed is the question we have to ask about this. Ruenberg. It was a draw. Both teams completely unable to do what they wanted to. We had Fun Gaming taking that west side, east side going to #RU. Neither team able to quite do what they want. A little bit of cap pressure, but no real resolution. Especially, I think it was clock utilization. They were not playing the clock well enough, waiting far too late to try and execute on their plans. Second, we went to Ensk. Ensk was another weird situation where we had... Help me with this one, Josh. What was Fun Gaming going for?
So Fun Gaming was first spread out completely in the southwest. Then they went up into Echo, and then they fell back. And because they fell back, #RU at about 1 minute and 10 seconds, pushed past Echo, kept going, they started the firefight, but they did not have enough time to deal damage. So Fun Gaming was waiting, again, playing completely defensive, and then pulled back when they felt, well, no one's going to win here. It's going to be another draw. Let's go back to our flag cap, make sure they're not going to pull any surprises on us.
Fair enough. I think it was a mistake, though, by Fun Gaming. It made me think #RU was a stronger team at that point. And I don't know if you agree, but do you think that set the momentum into the favor of #RU? I certainly do.
The momentum because they actually aggressed on Ensk?
Yes.
Yes, because, again, they should have done it a lot earlier. But when you put yourself in a mental state of aggression in this game, it feels more comfortable to aggress in the next map because you've already done it once. You've already done it in this particular instance, in this particular match. You've done it once, you can do it twice. And also the fresh perspective of a map where you spawn, if you think, hey, we're in a more advantageous position, this is the spawn point we wanted, or this is the map that we wanted, now we feel even better aggressing, let's go for it, then everyone is behind the idea compared to maybe a couple dissenting voices coming from the team saying, no, don't do it, what if we screw up? Like, hey, we almost got him the first time, we can get him the second time, let's go for it. And that's why, if that aggression doesn't work, when you started at 2:45 left in the battle and you have that 1 T1 hidden away, it's way better because if you're able to win in a brawl, except for one tank fleeing, then you can win in a brawl again.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I did have to respect Fun Gaming for making that wild push across the middle. That was a decent play. They read that their opponent was in the west. They thought, hey, we can make it to the middle faster than them, back to their own cap. I think they just mishandled the situation and went for a T1. That was it. Miss Rocky going around that corner, trying to chase, topple him down in the T1. That was so much damage, and they just walked into it. Miss Rocky looking the complete wrong direction.
Well, #RU fell back at the right time, too, to be in that type of setup next to their flag cap, because it was either Fun Gaming is going to attack or it would be another draw.
Yeah.
That's all is going to happen. #RU is not going to throw back, unless they had T1s in an area where they could press against the flag cap, but I didn't see that at all.
No, I didn't see that either. It was just a situation where we had a better defense and a better reaction from #RU. And then even though that IS-3 flank was probably a bit late, they still managed to do very, very well.
You know what this means?
What?
Either #RU or River of Blood do not go to the playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah. And that means either Bernal Empires or Fun Gaming will not go.
That's a sobering thought.
Yes, Fun Gaming is in 5th place. Fun Gaming will fight Bernal Empires, and River of Blood will fight #RU. River Blood in 5th place in the Bravo Division, 4th place #RU. So two teams that, well, no, they didn't face each other in the finals because River Blood was not there, but #RU went to the finals last season.
And Bernal Empires has little experience unless it's in practice with #RU. They've got their one match against River Blood, who they could potentially still see in the playoffs. But Fun Gaming, they also have little experience with. So this is going to be a fresh experience for both teams.
Yeah, it definitely will in this cross wildcard that will happen. But before we have that, it'll be the Cunninghams versus Hammer Time to break the tie for 3rd and 4th place, I believe. Second and third place. That's right, 2nd and 3rd place. We will have that match underway after we